This episode of the Ageless and Awesome podcast is sponsored by the Radiant Reset Hormone Detox Guide for Perimenopausal Women. As a woman in the modern world, our hormones are taking a battering. They're impacted by the food we eat, the toxins we're exposed to, such as when we eat out of plastic takeaway containers, or even worse, reheat food in them. Please don't do this. If you're handling FPOS receipts, filling the car with fuel, eating non-organic produce that hasn't been washed effectively, plus so much more things add to our toxic load every day. Even though our bodies are designed to effectively manage toxins, they haven't evolved as quickly as our toxic world has, unfortunately. So our body does need support. Symptoms such as stubborn weight gain, fatigue, disrupted periods, irritability, and gut health issues can be a sign that you'd benefit from a gentle detox. And that's why I developed the Radiant Reset Hormone Detox Guide for Perimenopausal Women. This free guide has an abundance of information to get you started on your very own DIY detox. And if you'd like to upgrade to VIP, it's only $47 for a limited time. I used to sell this program for $247. The upgrade gives you the recipes, including plenty of plant-based options, the meal planner, the shopping list template, the video workshop, and so much more. Click the link in the show notes to learn more now. Take care of your hormones. They are a critical part of your health as a woman. Hi, I'm Susie Garden, and this is the Ageless and Awesome podcast. I'm an age-defying naturopath and clinical nutritionist, and I'm here to bust myths around women's health and aging so that you can be ageless and awesome in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. The Ageless and Awesome podcast is dedicated to helping women through perimenopause and menopause with great health, a positive mindset, and outrageous confidence. Hit subscribe or follow now, and let's get started. Hello, gorgeous one, and welcome to Q&A Thursday. And I'm recording this Q&A app directly after the one I've done a couple of days ago, which is where I talked about my recent diagnosis of osteopenia. And firstly, I just want to say thank you so much to those of you that have reached out, have sent me messages. It's just been so lovely to know that people are listening and that they care. And I really, really appreciate it, and just wanted to reassure everyone that I am absolutely fine. In fact, I'm quite happy to have this knowledge because it means I can make changes now. And I talked on the pod on Tuesday about some of the changes I'm making, and I thought I would today's episode, because I've had a lot of questions about supplements and what supplements to take. And I, of course, have been diving into this for my own reasons, but I wanted to share some of the more interesting supplement options that have got some reasonable evidence behind them to help. So for anyone who does have osteopenia or osteoporosis, or you think you might be at risk if it's in your family, if you have any of the risk factors that I mentioned in Tuesday's episode, then you may wish to I would definitely recommend getting the bone density test, but also if you find that you do have some issues in that in your bones, that you look at some options as well as dietary options and movement, is that there may be some supplement options that can be really helpful. And interestingly enough, and I already knew this, but I hadn't really spent a lot of time reading about it, was that there is a link between the gut microbiome and bone health, right? Which a lot of people will think, what? But this has been known for a number of years. And there are some specific probiotics that you can take to help with the health of your bones. And as I said, I was aware of this a couple of years ago, but I don't tend to have a lot of patients in my practice that have bone issues yet, or certainly that they know about. And so I haven't used this product before, but I've just ordered it and I'm going to try it myself. So this is a probiotic that improves bone health by manipulating the gut microbiome, which is pretty cool. And as I mentioned, there's been a number of clinical trials. There's been trials in mice models and also in women. So I'm very curious about this. And I was actually quite happy with the data that I read to give it a try. So I won't get into the details of the trial, the specific trial on this specific probiotic, the actual one that they used in the trial, which is the one I'm going to be taking. It showed that if women took this probiotic for 1 year, that's when they kind of had a look at the changes in the bone mineral density scans. And what they found that at the end of the 12 months, which was the study period, the participants that had the probiotic versus the placebo had a significantly smaller percentage change in their bone mineral density compared to the placebo group. And this was statistically significant, which means it wasn't just a coincidence. And interestingly, they did a little subgroup analysis. So they looked at the women who were less than 6 years post-menopause, and they found that the effect of the probiotic was even more pronounced in those women compared with those in the placebo group that were also less than 6 years post-menopause. So while this probiotic is not going to help build up my bone, it is going to hopefully reduce the loss, because we know this is a progressive type of condition. So what we want to do is reduce the loss and also build on the bone. So this particular probiotic, which I'm able to get my hands on, it's very easy to get in Australia, has reduced the loss of bone mineral density. And I'm really happy with that. Really happy, within 12 months to have a real, and the data, the numbers I'm looking at is quite significant changes. So I'm very, very excited that that option is available in Australia and really easy to get hold of. So that is one of the things I'm doing. We have naturopaths have said for decades that gut health is the key to good health in the body, everywhere in the body, and including your bones. So I think that's a really exciting place to start. Also, I've been looking at collagen as an option. So interestingly, about 35% of our bones are made of collagen. And it's type 1 collagen, which is what you get in marine collagen and I think pretty much all of the other, like the bovine collagen and ones like that. And there is a patented collagen called Fortibone. It's a bovine collagen, and that they've been doing quite a lot of research in collagen peptides. So they need to be these bioactive collagen peptides, not just collagen. Now, I've talked about collagen on the podcast before, more in line with things like skin health. And you may recall, if you've listened to those, I think I've done at least one, maybe a couple of collagen podcasts. I know they are very popular podcasts whenever I talk about collagen and skin. And so what we know with collagen is the collagen peptides are the ones that the body really absorbs a lot better. And whether you're taking them in through food type products or whether you're putting it on your skin, if you're just putting collagen on your skin, you're not really going to absorb it that well. But collagen peptides are much easier to absorb. So if you've got any of those sorts of creams or whatever at home that you're using for your skin, this is just an aside, nothing to do with bones, but just as an aside, if they're not collagen peptides, if they're just collagen, they're probably not absorbing into your skin. Same with when we intake them, whether that's through, there's so many products now that contain collagen. You would have seen them on the supermarket shelves, and you can get them in like bars and bliss balls and so many different things, drinks. A lot of people adding collagen to their coffee, and what you're looking for is for them to be collagen peptides so that the body can better absorb them and use them. And there is some actually quite reasonable and recent research looking specifically at collagen peptides in women post-menopause with osteopenia, with osteoporosis. And even there was one trial that I looked at, they were comparing two groups of women, postmenopausal women with osteopenia. Group A everybody had calcium, 500 milligrams, and 400 units of vitamin D3. So everyone had that as their baseline kind of treatment. And then on top of that, they were broken into two groups. One was given 5 grams of collagen peptides a day, and the other group was not given any collagen. And they found after 12 months of supplement, the group that had the collagen peptides on top of the standard calcium and vitamin D3, they did way better in terms of their increase of their bone mineral density. And that's really important. So that's different to the effect you're getting with the probiotic. The effect with the probiotic is sort of stemming the bone loss, stopping it, preventing it. Whereas this is actually building your bone mineral density, which is, I would suggest, more important in a way. I think you kind of need both because, you know what I mean? Like you want to fill a bucket of water that's got a hole in it. You want to kind of stop the hole, block it as best you can, as well as filling it up. So we want to do both with this sort of situation. So collagen peptides, so be very specific with what you're looking for. And you're looking at the trials that I've seen, generally they're using 5 grams. I've seen some with 10 grams a day, but it seems that you can get a pretty good result with 5 grams a day, but you've got to take them every day. I mean, this is a chronic situation, and you need to take them every day, particularly in postmenopausal women, because one of the big factors with osteopenia and osteoporosis is the loss of estrogen. So that is where, and that's what I'll talk about next, potential for menopause hormone therapy or HRT comes in as probably a priority. But yeah, if you've got this going on, getting some collagen peptides into you is probably a good thing. And even if you are not in that situation, if you haven't had a diagnosis of osteopenia or osteoporosis and you're postmenopausal, I would highly recommend doing the collagen peptides, because you can get it you do it in food, and it's a really good way to keep building up your bone, because your bone is going to decrease. You know, once our estrogen is dropping through the floor, then yeah, that's a problem. Same with progesterone also has a role, but estrogen definitely. Which brings me to MHT. So I did a podcast on that, I think a couple of weeks ago it was, if you want to go and have a look at that. And it was just really my personal opinion about menopause hormone therapy, formerly known as HRT, hormone replacement therapy. So if you do have osteopenia or osteoporosis, it is and you're not on MHT, it's possibly an opportunity to discuss this with your GP as to whether or not it is suitable for you, given you're now in a higher risk category of bone fracture. And we know that estrogen and progesterone are two of the primary reasons that women post-menopause are going to get these bone issues. So that is something to consider. And even for those women that have gone into surgical menopause, so women that have had their uterus removed specifically, often are only offered estrogen replacement. And the reason for that is because many GPs consider that the progesterone is only there to prevent uterine cancer, because when you take the estrogen, you can thicken up the layer of your endometrium, so that's inside the lining of the uterus, and without progesterone to balance it, then you potentially that's where there is a cancer risk. But if you don't have a uterus, then it has been thought that, well, you only need the estrogen, you don't need the progesterone. And in fact, if you don't have a uterus and you're at risk for osteoporosis, you have osteopenia, then it really is highly indicated for you to have progesterone replaced as well. I would always suggest, again, this is beyond my scope of practice. This is not advice. This is purely information for you to discuss with your medical professional. I want to make that clear. Is that, the bioidentical or body identical hormones are probably the ones that you're wanting to really ingest as well, rather than the older style HRT, which I think a lot of the GPs aren't really prescribing much of these days anyway. I have had one of my clients actually who was prescribed as her estrogen replacement a contraceptive form of estrogen, which I was really surprised at because I really haven't seen that. In the patients that I see that are on the MHT, none of them are on a contraceptive type of hormone replacement for menopause. So that is something else that I think you need to really get some information. Go on the Australian Menopause Society. If you're in another country, I'm sure you would have your own society equivalent. There is also a really knowledgeable Canadian professor, Professor Geraldine Pryor, who has a lot of really good information on her website as well when it comes to how to have discussions with your GP about this, so that you are able to get what you need. And if the GP is not specializing in menopause, may not have the additional training and information, the current information on what is used to assist with supporting women to replace her hormones, if that's what is indicated, then definitely go in with some information or find a GP that can help you. And if you're looking for potential, if you don't have a GP that you're getting what you need in terms of this, then feel free to message me. I have a number of names that I'm happy to recommend and a lot of them do telehealth as well, so they're really easy to access. So just message me on Instagram at Susie Garden Wellness, or you can email me hello@susiegarden.com. So those elements that I've just mentioned today, obviously they're on top of the vitamin D3 and K2 that I mentioned. Calcium, I still haven't decided whether or not I'm going to take that. I'm going to try and get a lot of my calcium, or rather all of my calcium, through my diet at this point, and wait until my next scan is due and then see how I go. But I'm really feeling very positive and loving the that we have so many options available for us to work on our bodies in ways that may help prevent the progression of this condition, and also to prevent fractures and a reduced quality of life in the future. So I hope this has been helpful. If you have any further questions, please reach out. I'd love to help you out. I'll be back to normal programming next week, talking about some other things that have been on my list for a while to talk about. And have a great rest of the week, an awesome weekend, and I will see you next Tuesday for some new content. Thanks so much for joining me today on the Ageless and Awesome podcast. If you liked today's episode, please make sure you click the little plus button if you're on Apple Podcasts, or the follow button if you're on Spotify, so that you get each new episode delivered to you every week. If you like free stuff, then head to the show notes and click the link to receive my free Radiant Reset Hormone Detox Guide for perimenopausal women. Or if you'd like to continue the discussion, head over to Instagram and DM me at Susie Garden Wellness. I'd love to connect with you.